Good morning. This is a Wednesday morning. Woo, May the 12th. And believe it or not, it's cold. Maybe you can see my breath. Maybe not. But it's cold. Well, I'm going to tell you the mistakes I made and the good choices I made. Because you may run into the same situation, and you would like to know what to do in my situation, like if it's like mine. Well, first of all, when I was looking yesterday for a spot to stay in, I looked around. You can probably hear the raindrops. It's not raining hard, but anyways. I drove around. I found the campsite, which you already saw the video of it, and I figured that's a good one. So I went down to look for dispersed camping, so I wouldn't have to be around other people. But it was very peaceful tonight. Not a problem. But when I went to that area that I did finally found one that I could drive into, because mine's kind of a low rider. I found one, and it looked very nice. It was very tempting to stay there, but I noticed that the dirt or the ground was very sandy, thick, kind of reddish brown sand. But I said to myself, I checked the weather, and it should be some rain, 28% in Wednesday, which is today. So I figured, well, if I stay there, I might get bugged out, and I can't get out of there because it's going to be so muddy if it rains. That was my good choice. My other good choice was when I set up the tent, I prepared for the rain. I put the rain cap on top of the tent, and I'm glad I did. Because I tell you what, it rained all night long. All night long. I can't even talk anymore. I'm so cold. Anyways, so that was my two good choices that I made. Another choice was I moved everything in here, the bed, and it's more roomy. I can sit up, I can stand up. Oh man, what a relief to be able to stand up, because when you stay in the van the whole time, you can't barely move. I get cramps trying to switch positions, and cramp on my leg, and oh my goodness. So that's the advantage of what I did. Three good choices. The problem with the tent, the wind, when it blows, it makes a lot of noise. When it rains, you hear all the crackling of the raindrops on the tent. But it is spacious and comfortable. Excuse my mistakes. I thought, well, it's supposed to be in the 40s this morning, so I'm not going to turn any heat on just to see how bad it can get. Mistake. I should have just prepared my pot candle to heat up the place in advance, and run the heater in the van before it got dark, so that it would be nice and warm in here. So it stayed cold all night long, as you can well tell. I don't know if those little candles that heat you up can really heat up this whole room. This is a pretty big room. You can actually sleep 4, 5 people in here. So my best my best advice for you is to prepare as you go. I keep saying that to you all the time. Prepare as you go. Now you have learned something, just as I have, of the good and the bad choices I have made. Now that I know that it's raining today, and it's supposed to rain 24%, I'm going to check the weather in a few minutes again to see what has changed. But if it's going to be raining all day, that means I won't be going out there to explore. And I have a dog. She gets wet. You know what that smells like. Not good. Nothing worse than a wet dog smell. So I put on the candles this morning to kind of heat up a little bit in here. It seems to have helped a little bit, but not much. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, now that I have all this space here, I'm going to rearrange all my suitcases to only have certain things in certain cases. Because with the hurry of leaving, I kind of put things here and there. I'm going to show you. I will move the camera a little bit. Maybe you can see it. Let me see. My hand right here. Oh, there's the warmth. Oh yeah, that's warm. I have the little candles on. And what I'm going to do right now, before I go outside to walk the dog, I'm going to warm up the boots. So what I'm doing with the boots, I'm going to turn it upside down like this, right over the fire, or the heat from the lamps. And by the way, even though it's big in here, I did open the space just for the carbon monoxide. It's so small of the candles that I don't think it makes that much difference, but just to be on the safe side, I have cracked a little bit of the screens on the tent to allow the carbon monoxide to escape. And I'll warm up the boots inside and out a little bit to give me some warmth when I put them on. Okay, well, I'm going to go outside, take lady for a walk. She probably has to go potty. And since this place does have bathrooms, if I have to go out, I'll use the bathroom. Now, these bathrooms here are not the flush type. They're just a hole, but you still have a toilet, but it just doesn't flush. It's just a hole to the ground. Make sure you never put trash in it. Only the toilet paper that you use. But other than that, do not put trash in those things, because they are harder to clean when it needs to be cleaned. If you have a generator that makes noise, a gas generator, try not to use that at night, because it will keep people awake. Obviously, I didn't have a problem tonight, but the people that were next to me, down about 30 yards, they said one time they spent the night here and someone had a generator running all night long and it was loud. And right here, every sound sounds loud. You are in the wilderness, it echoes, and we're between hills. Hills on this side, hills on that side, a lot of trees. Yep, it does echo a lot. So try to be polite to people and follow the rules. Hopefully this video will teach you those things that even though you're learning as you go, you have a little bit of an edge on what I'm learning. You can learn also. So when you go there and you do it, you're a little bit more prepared. Think ahead. Always check the weather. Look your surroundings. And you can expect the worst. You never know. You may never use it. It's best to have it. A bear spray. Best to have it. Because you never know when you're going to need it. Okay, my dog's taking a little nap right here. but I'm gonna get ready, get dressed, and I'll take her out for a walk. It's not raining right now. What you hear is what's dropping from the tree. I parked under a tree, so some of those droplets are still coming down. But it is cold outside. Okay, as you can see, all this right there is a hill or part of a mountain, I guess. I don't know. It's full of pine trees. And all this area is for me right now. Nobody's here. Well, I'm ready to do a little bit of cooking. So I'm heating up the stove or the barbecue pit. Got some wood, even though it was wet. It looks like it's burning. Alright. And I got the whole park, or this whole area, to myself. I kind of should not have parked underneath here because see, the sun cannot dry up the tent. So this tree has been dripping rain all night and all day. I've kind of taken everything out of almost everything out of the tent. I already put the bed back in there because tonight I'm sleeping there so that when I get up in the morning, I'm ready to go. So it's a little messy. This is where we wipe our feet. We wipe our feet outside and we wipe our feet inside. And I wipe her feet really good before I let her loose. Okay, so we almost set to go. I'm going to start cooking. So see you in a little bit. I got my solar panel set up now that the sun came out, so it's been charging my little generator for a little while. And it's going to continue to do that. I just saw a pretty bird up there. Let me see if I can catch him. That's too fast. They barely stop one moment and boom, take off. But that was a different bird. There's another one over there. Well, I got some deer meat going. I'll also cook it this way. That way we can cook a little faster on this. Can turn it around while it cooks so it's without falling. I got this at a pre-owned sale store in Cloudcroft, New Mexico. This deer meat was given to me by a good friend of mine. I don't know if I'm cooking this right, but it's cooking. All I'm putting is some salt and pepper. I hope it works. It's looking pretty good. Lady likes it. I gave her a little piece. Looking good. Lady, we're going to put out the fire. Even though you think it's completely gone, you want to make sure you drown the fire.
just to make sure. I need to put some more. This is Crisco, and let it melt in the sun. I'm going to add another candle in there, one of those thick candles. It's about this tall, thick candle, and I'll slide it in there so I'll have two flames, maybe even put a third one, so that it'll have a nice flame, big enough to create heat. And this little one, same thing. I put little candles in there. The small ones, the birthday candles, they go in there. I want to let them melt a little bit here in the sun. In the meantime, I clean up everything with vinegar. So I just finished cooking, and I finished wiping some of the things, but I'm going to wipe all the rest of them. And one of them is my knife right here. I want to disinfect the knife with some vinegar. It cleans and disinfects. So my utensil, I also clean this one here, which I use to get those. I can't believe I forgot my my little cooking clamps. I already cleaned them once, but I'm going to clean it again just to show you. That even if you clean once, it doesn't hurt to do it again. This one I'm doing a little bit better job than I did earlier. Earlier was just to get most of it. It's a pretty good little deal here, this one. And then it locks right here. So that way you can cook and turn it. Or you can use this one, just 1 meat at a time, and cook and turn. I'll show you the final setup for this. This is going to be my heating element for tonight, because I know last night was close to 36. This morning 36 degrees. I want to make sure I'm a little bit warm. This is the little cap that goes on top. I will show you the process later, and that will keep you warm, hopefully on the sides of the band. Last night the whole tent, this thing wouldn't do anything. Well, I wouldn't say it wouldn't do anything, but it will take maybe some of the chill, some of the freezing temperature feeling. First of all, I have heat resistant, even though it's not going to be on there. I place 3 to allow air to go in. This goes in the middle, and this goes right here. You cover the top to keep the heat in. This will get hot. Air goes in, oxygen goes in, flame lights, this blocks it, this heats. That's pretty much the way I'm going to have it tonight. Should be good. And that's it. That should take care of the night heat. We'll see what happens. Because again, oxygen goes through there. And there's your fire. This is the first time I hear this. They sound like they're in the distance. They sound like coyotes or wolves. I think they're coyotes. They should sound like they're far in the distance. I hope they don't come close because I only have one German Shepherd against how many coyotes, I don't know. But I have my bear spray and I'm ready, just in case. Alligator bark. Amazing. I'm also rearranging the bucket that goes in the back of the van, in the hitch, to reorganize things in there because they were kind of just thrown in there. So this is an organizing day, and I just finished cooking deer meat. And by the way, that deer meat was delicious. It was kind of tender. In some areas, kind of like jerky. It was 2 in 1. On that evening, when I was getting ready to make a call, because I wanted to make a call, but I couldn't get any reception. And I've had reception before, so don't get me wrong, I had good reception. But all of a sudden, nothing. No matter where I stood, no matter what I did, there was no reception on my phone. And I have a T-Mobile, and most of the time I had good reception. So I wanted to go ahead and go down the road a little bit and see if I could get some reception. So I figure I'll pack everything, just like if I'm going to leave. But I'm not going to leave. I want to spend one more night there, but being that it's all packed in the van, I can sleep in the van. That would mean my last night there. So I figure, okay, from here I'll go towards Colorado. But I wanted to test going down the road to see if I get good reception. So I packed everything, ready to go. I turned the ignition, click, 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 nothing. Not, I mean, like it's dead as a doorknob. A doorknob's dead. Anyways, just dead. I said, oh no. See, the first thing that came to my mind is I might have an alternator problem, because this is the 4th alternator I have put in that vehicle. And I tested it before I left San Antonio that it is good. It is charging my battery, fully charging 13 volts, 13.5 I think it is. So I figure, well, my alternator was good when I left. It could have gone bad, and if that's the case, I'm in deep trouble, because it means I can't charge it, I can't jump it, and get out of here. I would have to replace the alternator. I was pretty worried. At that moment, I figured, well, let me do the best I can do for right now, and that's use my generator, solar generator. It's about 3/4 full on the battery, and use that little charger that I packed. If you remember at first when I showed you what I was packing in the van, that's one of the items I packed, because something told me you just never know. You might just need this. You know, ooh. I was lucky. I was blessed that I took that little charger with me, because I put the charger plugged into my battery and connect that little charger to my generator, because it's got AC power, and let it run and let it charge. I figured, well, it's going to take a little while. So I waited and I waited and tried it again. Click, 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 click. Okay, ooh, didn't start. But I had some sound now. There was nothing at first. Now I'm getting some sound. Okay, so maybe I let it charge a little longer.
So I waited longer, and it was getting close to 7 o'clock, but not quite. I was maybe around 6:30. And I decided to let it last a little longer before I tried to start the vehicle again. So I waited about 6:45, and I started it. I went, oh, so close. So I figure, okay, it's not going to start. I got to let it charge longer. I'm going to wait till 7 o'clock and try to start it one more time. If not, I'm going to have to spend the night here and wait to have power tomorrow, charge the solar power, and try it again. So I waited and I waited and I waited. Now, mind this, that the solar generator now had about a quarter of power because it's been charging my battery all this time. So I said, oh, please, please, please. So I waited, and at 7 o'clock, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo, it started. Yeah. Whew, that was a close one. That was a close one. That was a good moment right there. If it's the alternator, it's going to kill my battery pretty soon, pretty quick, because it's not charging my battery as I'm driving it. But it's still daylight. It doesn't get dark till about 8:30. The town that I needed to go to, I figure I'm not going to stay here anymore. I'm going to drive it right now as far as I can go to see if it actually going to kill my battery or not. There's a chance I got to take. So everything was packed anyway, so I took off and drove down to the next town. And towards the next town, as you can see, is getting darker. And I haven't turned my lights on yet. I figured, no, I'm not going to put no radio, no lights, no nothing. Just drive it. And it hasn't died on me yet, so that's a good sign. So I kept driving. I could see the town from way in the distance. I could see the lights, city lights. This is a small town, but still you could see the city lights. So I decided to go ahead and keep driving. It's getting darker. Finally, I said, I got to turn my lights on. Cars are passing me up and everything, they have the lights on. I'm the only one with no lights on. So I'm going to have to. If it dies, it dies, but I have to have my lights on. So I turned them on and kept driving. That was a close one. I made it to town. I made it to the first gas station I could pull into. And at this time, I had a reception, so I've been talking to my wife about trying to get me a hotel or something over here while I'm trying to figure this problem out. Find me a hotel or something in this little town. So I got to the gas station, and I figured I'm going to try it again, now that I drove it for a while. With the lights off and everything, I turned it off, and turned it back on. Started. All right, that's good. I'm going to do it one more time. Turned it off, and turned it back on. It wasn't my alternator. I found out what the problem was. And this is something we all need to learn to be aware of. Because during the daylight, you almost cannot tell you left your lights on and your dome lights in your van. You're doing things, you're packing, you're setting up your tent, you're cooking and you forgot, and I leave my doors open because I want to air out the van. So, but I made sure I turn off the dome light manually so that it wouldn't drain my battery. But all you have to do is close one door and reopen it for some quick reason or whatever, and it turns them on, and I'm not aware of it, and I keep doing what I'm doing. Well, that was the problem. 2 days with the dome lights on and off like this, it killed my battery. So, lesson to be learned. Always keep an eye on your dome lights and test your car every so often. Let it run a little bit. Let the battery charge again. Make sure you have plenty of charge on your battery. That's a lesson learned, I tell you. So, I kept looking around for somewhere to be able to just park and sleep over the night. That little town has no place for me to go and do any of that. So my wife told me, well, there's some of those gas stations that you can sleep over, like a Love's or a Pilot. Sure enough, there was a Pilot right there in the same little town. And as I drove by to it, as I drove by it, I saw a lot of people parked there, sleep the night. It was already dark, so I could see, truckers and RVs and station wagons, and they all parked on the side, ready to sleep. They have the windows covered. Wow! I hit the jackpot. So I found out that the next morning I could take a shower there, have breakfast. So that was a close call there for me because I thought it was my alternator, and that would have been bad news. Lesson to be learned, always be aware of your surroundings. What my surroundings in this case was my lights, my dome lights. My surroundings, make sure you have plenty of light hitting your the cellular charger there, my panels, because as the day changes, shade can fall on it, which you still get charged even with shade, but you want direct sunlight. So I had to keep moving it around, keep myself aware of my surroundings, that I have plenty of power going to my generator, because that saved my butt right there. Woo, doggy! I would have been in trouble. No one to jump my car. I would have waited another day. If no one shows up the next day, I would hope that my cellular charger would be charged enough to jump it the next day, to start it the next day. But it all turned out good at the end.